Hello, you all. Welcome to this new edition of Lectio Musica, the place for great lyrics, great music, and great meaning. My name is Guilain Prince. I'm a Franciscan friar from Canada, and I love rock music for a long time, especially hard rock, metal, and prog. Every week, I stop all my other activities, and with you, I listen to a new song. Well, a new song for me, not necessarily for you. And this week, we continue our journey through Nightwish Repertoire. It's a series of 24 songs selected by the public. This week, I think it's the 20th. We will see that at the end. Anyways, we begin today their album called Endless Forms Most Beautiful. This is an album I know nothing of. I haven't listened to, probably by mistake at one point. I heard one song, but I really don't have any idea of the album in general. In fact, last weekend I had the marvelous joy of listening to the whole album Imaginarium and the movie of the same title, and I found it pretty instructive, both for the meaning of the lyrics, but also for the general, I would say, the general atmosphere of that period in time, and this marvelous effort that was made in exploring new artistic path for the band, playing in a movie, playing themselves most of the time, except I was very impressed with Annette's ability as an actress. Thomas plays himself or his alter ego in the movie. Liked it very much. Now, but for this album, I'm pretty certain that I haven't listened, and we have 4 songs coming from that album. Let me have a look here at the full list. In a survey last year, you gave me 24 songs to explore with you. So the first one is called Weak Fantasy. This is the one we will do today. After there will be Elan. Yours is an Empty Hope. And we will finish with The Greatest Show on Earth. I know that you want me to react to Weak Fantasy and Yours is an Empty Hope for a long time. Apparently, no, now I know that Weak Fantasy seems to be directly aiming at religions, as I could see. So we will go through that, and like I said, I never felt any discomfort to discuss any subject. Some people even wrote me, well, we didn't like the way you reacted to tribal, or we didn't like the fact that it seems to hurt you in a way. I remind you simply that we were right in the middle of COVID at the time, and I have just lost 4 persons to COVID, and one of my very dear uncle was close to death at the time. Just to tell you that there were special conditions. I know already what the topic of that song is, so we will go directly into a lyric video. I verified that the lyric video, the quality of the audio track is good. It is. So we will dig into this in a minute. There we have it. So let's listen to this version of Weak Fantasy with lyrics. Let's see, what is this song all about? 3, 2, 1.
dissonant choirs and downcast eyes, self-heard of a condescending ape. Behold the crown of a heavenly spy, forged in blood of those who defy. Kiss the ring, praise and sing. He loves you dwelling in fear and sin. Fear is a choice you embrace. Your only truth. Tribal poetry, witchcraft filling your void, lust for fantasy. Mere necrocracy. Every child worthy of relative. Pick your author from a good fantasy, built with suffering and slavery. You live only for the days to come. Shuffling trash of the upper caste, smiling mouth in a rotten head, sucking dry the teat of the scared. The storytelling breed we are, the stomping crew with show of toys. Fear is a choice you embrace. Your only truth. Tribal poetry, witchcraft filling your void, lust for fantasy. Mere necrocracy. Every child worthy of a relative. Into war of the worlds, this one we forsake with scorn. From night, the strength of our love, mother's milk, laced with poison for this newborn. Wake up, child, I have a story to tell. Once upon a time, your only truth. Tribal poetry, witchcraft filling your void, lust for fantasy. Mere necrocracy. Every child worthy of a relative.
Okay. What can I say on this song? As a first reaction, I never heard it before. Okay, I will tell you what my first reaction truly, and it's not because of the topic. It has nothing to do with the topic. Isn't that for you one of the weakest song of Nightwish? I'm sorry to say that. Almost no melody. You have a beautiful line for fear is the choice you embrace, I think. This is a beautiful melodic line, and what it says is beautiful. The instrumental bridge with, I don't know what is, the bouzouki-like instrument that Troy plays, liked it very much. So the instrumental bridge, I liked it, but the melody of the verse and the melody of the chorus, what do you think? Tell me. I really don't want to sound like I'm just putting down a song. I am truly surprised. So little melodic quality to the song. As how Nightwish can make a song like that. From another band, I wouldn't be surprised, but from Nightwish, I have to say that it's not. I would say maybe in the first albums they were able to do such songs without much melody. This one is da 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 do 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 do. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not good. It's basic. I would say, from Nightwish standard, it's subpar. No doubt in my mind. Whatever is the subject, I would have said the same thing. So let's go and now dig into the lyrics. Okay, here we are back again with the analysis of the lyrics and the music of Weak Fantasy. It's from the album Endless Form, Endless Form's Most Beautiful. Let's see, it's the on the album, it's the second song after Shudder, Before the Beautiful. So let's go in the analysis, and don't forget there will be a listening to the live version as well at the end. So let's dig into the lyrics immediately. These stories given to us all are filled with sacrifice and robes of lust, dissonant choirs and downcast eyes, selfhood of a condescending ape. As is, the song does not say exactly what it's talking about. We get that it is a place where the stories has been given to us all. It's not the first time that we see this theme in Nightwish's repertoire. Basically, we've seen already in some of the songs, previous songs, that, for example, religions are a bank of stories. So let's say for now that these stories coming from our past, given to us all, are filled with sacrifice and robes of lust. Yeah, I think we can say, it's fair to say that in very ancient stories, wherever they come from, they are sacrifices, they are stories of lusts, they are things that if they were experienced in our everyday life, they would be very cruel in a way. So yeah, some of the stories coming from our past are very cruel and full of lust and so many other things. Dissonant choirs. I wonder if, I'm not sure what choirs refers to. To me, the only choir I see in those ancient stories are epic tales from the Greek theater, where you have choirs telling the story, and they are not dissonant in this. So what is that saying here is that you have supposedly something that should be united, a choir, that is dissonant, mean that it's not harmonious. If I'm a director of a choir and I hear false notes, so is it a musician's way to say that these stories, they are not well balanced or not well, they are dissonant things, they are not interesting? As a musician, when a choir is dissonant, it's really irritating. I would tend to go into that, and downcast eyes sent towards so from people thinking of themselves being of higher situation of superiority. Yeah, superiority. So selfhood of a condescending ape. So selfhood, um, the fact of being self, a situation of self-understanding of a ape, condescending. So condescending over what? Over towards whom? Is it condescending animal towards the creation? It could be this. It could be an ape among other apes thinking that he's superior to the others. So of this first, we have a bank of stories from our past filled with sacrifices, irritating in many ways, and at the same time giving a feeling of superiority of yourself, but basically you are just a condescending ape. Behold the crown of a heavenly spy, forged in blood of those who defy. Kiss the ring, praise and sing. He loves you, dwelling in fear and sin. There's a E, being a heavenly spy, but with a crown. What kind of king is a spy? A spy, by definition, to my knowledge, would tend to be discreet, to be hidden. So, is it the crown of someone we don't see? That could be directly towards a certain understanding of God, or I would say any heavenly being or spiritual being or whatever. But I would bet on God on this one. Forged in blood. And so the crown of this heavenly spy is forged in blood, with the blood of those who defy. So this spy will crush all those who don't agree. This is how I understand. And this is the crown. The crown is the blood of those who disagree. So it would tend to be, if it's a religion, it would be a religion crushing those, or a God crushing those who don't agree with him, because they wrote him here. Kiss the ring, praise and sing. So that would be reverence to the spy, or the spy king, we could say. Praise and sing to this spy. He loves you, dwelling in fear and sin. He wants you to stay in fear and sin. Does that mean that he wants you to be constantly in a situation of fear, or constantly in a situation of sin? Or he wants you to believe so that you are in fear and you constantly think that you are a sinner? That's interesting. There's no relief here at all in any ways. So, and he loves you to stay in that situation. So I wonder, there seems to be here a very cruel I would tend to say God. Basically, stating his superiority or his kingship on the blood of those who don't agree. And those who kiss the ring, praise, and sing are the one who agrees or adhere or adore. He loves you, those who adhere, he loves you dwelling in fear and sin. So there's nothing but fear and sin in the praise and in the singing and in the kissing of the ring. Fear is a choice you embrace. If I'm not mistaken, in the first second, he loves you dwelling. So fear is a choice you embrace. So as if the song is talking to those belonging who accepts the kingship, and by praise, sing, and kissing the ring, staying in fear and sin. So, and here it says, fear is a choice you make. You accept or you endorse your own fear. And then by this, you accept the situation you are plunged into. Okay? Your only truth. So again, talking probably to some of us, Nightwish says, your only truth. So it's not truth, it's your truth. Your truth, tribal poetry. We've seen that. The word and the idea that is basically here would be faith as being a tribal poetry. It's only your tribe. It's your tribe. Witchcraft filling your void. So you are the person who is a believer has a void. And filling the void with witchcraft. What is witchcraft in that context? I don't think they're talking about sorceress and sorcerers. I would think it means more like stories that we might find in scriptures that are marvelous stories, happening miracles or something. I would tend to go towards this. So these stories, or maybe witchcraft, in the performing of the religion, there might be some rituals that you could associated with witchcraft. I don't think there is, but this is a strong song in general. It's not. There are no nuances here. We're talking about a full charge. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Full charge. Your voice. So there's nothing good, nothing good from A to Z until now. Lust for fantasy. If witchcraft filling your void, probably your lust for fantasy, or unless it is a general statement on lust for fantasy. But I really think it's witchcraft filling your lust for fantasy as well. I don't think it's the continuity here. Male necrocracy. The necracy is the power from dead people. Male people who are male, being dead, being the leader. Okay, so that would aim at, I think, religions led by male, I would say, and they are described as dead. What is dead? The fact that their interior life is made of those stories, tribal poetry, witchcraft stories, and that makes them dead instead of alive. And then at the end, every child worthy of a better tale. So all this up there, I would say also the two first verse, yeah, everything since the beginning of the song, every child is worthy of a better tale. So all of this, kick them out. Okay, that's interesting, don't you think? I don't know how to react to that because it's such. We will see. We will see what my final thought on the song. But for me, it's such a. Oh, my lord. Pick your author from a la carte fantasy filled with suffering and slavery. You live only for the days to come, shoveling trash of the upper caste. Days to come is a very ancient expression, especially in the Jewish tradition. Days to come are the days ahead of us, the days that where everything will be turned around from a bad situation to a better situation. So pick your author from a la carte fantasy. A la carte fantasy, I wonder what it means here, because probably pick what you believe in everything that is offered in the buffet of religions, building your a la carte fantasy. This is how I would say, unless it means that a little bit like a menu, these religions offer you a lot of choices. Pick what you want in all of this. I'm not sure of this because traditional religion, they would tend not to favor an a la carte choice. They will tend to have a certain system of belief. So this song, to me, from an organized religion point of view, I don't understand it. Maybe you have a better understanding than me. Please let me know down in the comment section. This means, from what I can see, is pick the history to build what will be your fantasy, or these religions offer you a menu of stories. Pick the stories in there. I'm not sure. A la carte fantasy filled with suffering and slavery. We know that, for example, the Jewish scriptures, there was a time where the Jewish people was a slave, suffering, and then all this suffering and slavery, as if the scriptures only had that kind of content. From what I can see, there's a list of the worst that you have in the scriptures, but I don't see much, of course, of the inspiring stuff. But let's continue. Doesn't seem that this song gets into nuances. Let's continue. You live only for the days to come. We talked about this. So basically, your life is inspired by slave and slavery. So you live a life of slavery, which would be, how do you say, suggested by the idea of kissing a ring. Slavery. So you live a life of suffering and slavery only to be able to be part of the world to come. Shoveling trash of upper class castes. What is the trash from the upper caste? Are they religious leaders here? So you shovel the trash of the leaders as solving them and taking care of the worst of them. I don't. Yeah, that's how I would understand this. Let's continue. Smiling mouth in a rotten head. The idea of necrocracy a little bit later comes back. A rotting head, so smiling mouth in a rotten head. Sucking dirt, sucking dry the teeth of the scared. So sucking everything from those you control by fear. A storytelling breed we are. a storytelling period. I told you that storytelling was a very important part of Nightwish. A starving crew, us, with show-off toys. What are these show-off toys? Those show-off, I don't know if it's the same in English. In French, to be show-off is pejorative, and it says basically what you want to put in front of you to so that everybody remarks who you are there. And so here we are, a starving crew, to see the toys of those who are show off in front, so beautiful, well, I don't know, dress or liturgies of some kind. That would be, we are a storytelling breed. We like good stories, and maybe we like also big shows, and we starve for them, sucker for that kind of stuff, so we appreciate it. Of course, I will not comment on the fact that the rock band, for some people, might be a religion too, but let's continue. It is so, we say caricatural in French. It's a caricature. And when a caricature says something, you even if you don't like to see the very very strong presentation of a fault, for example, it says something true. It says something true. But sometimes the caricature is so strong that it becomes laughable. I'm telling you, I don't know what to say to that song. If I took every single bad thing that every one of us did in their life, we can make a very funny song and a very strong song also. But what happened when it's a tradition that has many thousand years old? Well, of course, there are bad stories. Fear is a choice you embrace. By the way, I love this line, both the content and the melody of this line is beautiful. You only truth, mainly grok, every child worthy of a better tale. We know that. And then there's the bridge. From words into war of the worlds. This one we forsake with scorn. From lies the strength of our love. Mother's milk laced with poison of the newborn. So this song, just a second, I'll find my words. From words into war of the worlds. I'm pretty sure this means from storytelling or scriptures to wars. So how were wars were based on religion. Okay, you got that. This one we forsake with scorn. This one, what is the this one? War of the worlds. We abandon this war of the worlds, singular, based on words. We abandon this with scorn. So we abandoned the wars based on religion. Does that mean that we accept all the other wars? And what happens if a war is not based on religion? What happens if the regime is very deadly, but based on an atheist ideology? Do I have to make more statements here about this? Every war will find an ideology first to support it. And if it can find support in religions, it will find it. If a dominator wants to dominate Muslims, he will find Muslim ideology. If he wants to dominate Christians, he will find Christian ideology. And if he wants, if someone who's atheist will develop atheistic thought and schools and put it in the world, it's not only religion, ideology has been used in any ways to support wars. So this war of the worlds based on words, I would say keep it for more than religion, this one, because if you don't keep it for more than religion, you will accept other wars based on other writings that are not religions. From lies, the strength of our love, mother's milk laced with poison for this newborn, the idea of a newborn being fed by the mother, but the mother has milk that is poisonous. With what? With lies. So the words are lies. From words, from lies. The strength of our love, the bound, the family bound, as I can see, but probably social bound as well, being part of the same lie or being part of the same body of words makes us a society apparently with love, but it's based on lies. After that, you have the same wake up child. So wake up child, now it's in you, so probably they are talking to us. Wake up child, I have a story to tell once upon a time, and it will be probably another story. Meanwhile, your only truth, tribal poetry, witchcraft filling your void, every tribe worthy a better tale. So Nightwish is telling us, my dear friends, you know all these stories that you know from your childhood. You know all these stories, they are filling your void. Your lust for fantasy. But all these stories, they're worth that. Abandon them. Don't worry. I have a better story for you. Let me tell you what to think. Oh, yeah. I love it. Sometimes you reproach something to others and you fall in a trap by yourself, all by yourself. We don't even have to invite you. Oh, my Lord. So, in terms now of music, I have a very sincere question here. The structure, quite simple. You have a very good instrumental section as an opening, and in fact, in that song, the instrumental section, I love him. I love him at the beginning, before the bridge, which is represented here by the EF section, which has the beautiful instrument that Troy plays, a bit like a triangle. I love this sound. It gives a little bit of a oriental feel to the song, and at the end. So I love the instrumental section of the song. You have the two first verse, the pre-chorus, the chorus, the two other verses, pre-chorus, a long instrumental section, bridge. The bridge made out of not spoken, but not very melodic words in E and F, and there it is. Objectively, I will tell you frankly what I think, and it's objective no matter what is the topic of the song. It's a very repetitive song. Both verses and chorus, the melodic line are very simple and they are repeated all along. For me, the most interesting part, I already said it, are the instrumental. But I know Nightwish. You know Nightwish. Why Nightwish chooses to do such a repetitive and, I will say it like that, don't take it badly, boring. I said, not as imaginative as usual. I haven't heard that kind of, I will say, unimaginative melodies, apart from the very first songs. And I know enough Nightwish to say it's on purpose. So I will try to give you my interpretation of that in the next on the next page. As for the lyrics, it's, I called it a litany of highly charged words and images. The focus seems to be religions, and maybe Judeo-Christian religion, maybe like in tribal, the Abrahamic religions, all those coming from Abraham, which would tend to look at only Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. It's not openly said, though. It's a poetic way. In tribal, it's openly said, but not in this case. There's anger expressed toward power established on tales. And these tales will trigger wars. I think, it's about religions, or at least a religion or Abrahamic line of religion. Now, let's get into the meaning of the song. This song is a clear charge by Nightwish, a repetitive one on power based on tales, religions. So it's a charge, and repetitive one. The title, Weak Fantasy, it could be a fantasy of the weaks, not written like that, but written like that, the fantasy of those who are weak, or a poor fantasies, not very imaginative stories, these stories. Since the last line of the chorus is every child is worthy of a better tale, I would tend to think that religions are poor fantasies. It's a poor fantasy as a global judgment. Storytelling for Thomas and Nightwish is essential. We many times encountered the power, and in the past song, religions, they appeared at that time in the past repertoire of Nightwish as being a beautiful bank of stories. But I can say truly that I don't think that Thomas ever gave the same level, let's say, for example, of beliefs in stories coming from religions, but at least some were beautiful stories and a beautiful bank. But in this song and in tribal, it's not the case at all. These are dehumanizing stories, very bad stories. Look somewhere else. Tribal didn't say that, but here it says this very clearly. Look for something else. There are better stories than that. So the song is a wake-up call. Look somewhere else for you, for your children. There are much better sources of imaginations and stories, I would say. Not imaginative stories, unless I put it like this. Yeah, it's a charge. It's a wake-up call. Yeah, wake up. Wake up. I think it's literally what is written here. Wake up, child. Wake up. You are in... and this song is purposely powerful, yet musically weak. According to Nightwish's standards, I'm not talking about the topic here, I'm really talking musically. As if, for me, I would interpret it like this: very repetitive, a charge, strong charge. These religions don't even worth the effort of making a good song. They just need a kick somewhere. That's how I would interpret that song. It's really not so bad stories. These are so bad. They just need to be kicked out. Okay, that's why I would interpret. This is how I would interpret that song, the way it is written, because I know that they are good musicians. So if they wrote it that way, there's a reason why. That would be my understanding. But this is my reflection here, and you take it, you leave it. I have an opinion on that song. I have an opinion as well on this kind of reproach, what I call the historical argument. It's quite easy. Basically, these are easy arguments from people who just want to say, I know it all. I have it today. I understand everything. And I don't understand that everyone in this world and every civilization, they will begin, they will mature, they will die, and like human beings, civilizations, they grow, they learn, they make mistakes, they have successes. In our past and in present, there are ghosts, there are demons. It's true of every human life. Even in your life, personal life, there are ghosts and demons, and there are things that you are not proud of. And just thinking that you kick these religions, very old institution, by the way, of course, if you accumulate all the worst stories of every religions, of course you can make a nightmare out of it. You probably would be able to make a nightmare of my own life. It's impossible for me to think I'm such a good person, because there are things that I haven't done very well and I regret with all my heart, and there are things that are skeleton in my garde-robe, we say in French, closet. Yeah, for me there's a big temptation, thinking that you can do a song and kick all the bad stories like out of the ballpark, and thinking that it's not part of you anymore. There's no better illusion than that. It shows me that you are still stuck with it, that those who compose that song are stuck with these kinds of skeletons and demons within themselves. Because if they had somehow I would say, a reconciled heart and soul with their own past, they wouldn't try to kick the good and the bad of others like this. If you're reconciled with your own evil parts of yourself, you know that you sometimes do the things you don't want to do, and all the good things you would like to do, you don't do them. If you're reconciled with your faults, with your frailty, you don't expect the others to be perfect. And I can understand why, and because I am shocked by some of the events of the past and of the present of my own church. And I can understand very well some people being shocked and saddened by things that have been done by this church. But I know perfectly well that while these auras are there, there are other part of that same church at that same time that are beautiful. Of course, there are stories in the scriptures, very bad stories, but I know also that there are very beautiful and poetic stories, and great stories and tales, and in all this, these people grew and learned from their mistakes, and the faith at the end of the Old Testament period is not the same as the one that you have at the beginning. That's my specialty. And even in the Christian faith, the faith you have 20 years after Jesus in the letters of Paul, it's not the same faith you'll find in the more recent books, like the books of John and in the Apocalypse, and in the Christian thoughts that you will have after. Yeah, well, thinking that you will get rid of religion just with a song or with a magic wand is exactly what you shouldn't do, because they will be still part of you. Never forget that in a song called Song of Myself, be careful of the judgment you put on others. It was clearly written like this, because you are that and that and that you're pointing at others. So making a full list of all the worst texts of a very long tradition and institutions without its beautiful one is for me dishonest. They're calling for your truth in that song, as if it was a tribal and very close-minded one. But there may be a lot of close-mindedness in that song. This is not truth. That song like that is not truth. It's only talking about one side or one part of the history of the story. Let's see what this album has to offer globally. I'll give it a good listen. I still have at least 3 songs to listen from the album. But this song, as it stands, is not a good song of Nightwish by any means. Melodically, in terms of content, poetically, it's one of the weakest I've seen until now. Unless maybe I got it all wrong. Maybe tell me if I got it wrong. If I didn't understand it well, tell me. I will be able to take it. But for me, independently of the topic, it's not a good song. But even with the topic, I don't think it's a good song either. So I'm eager to see the rest of the album. But until now, you know something? After coming from 2 albums that I consider the strongest of Nightwish until now, I could say the 3 last album, because Once is incredible. For me, Dark Passion Play is, and Imaginarium. And the first song I have from the new album is this. This makes me laugh. This is so, for me, getting low. See, the contrast is unbelievable. There's not even one song on Dark Passion Play that I don't like. Even if I don't relate very much with the Bye Bye Beautiful and what is Master Passion Creed, I don't relate too much with these songs. And there's another very violent one also on the album Imaginarium. And I don't relate at all that much to the death metal or very powerful in your face strong words, but I can tell you that these are very beautiful songs. They are really well written melodically. Whoa! I love them anyways, because they make me understand a part of me, a part of the violence that can be there when I'm outraged, something. Compared to these albums, this song for me is a pwit. Nothing more. Really nothing more. There's nothing in that song that I find interesting, to be frank. And I thought it was a very good challenge on, it would have been a good challenge because a lot of people asked me to react to that song. I thought it was a very good philosophical challenge about religion. It is not. Okay, next week, Elan with it written the French way from the same album, Endless Forms Most Beautiful. So, it will be the video 22 and 24, so we're getting closer to the end. My reaction, as always, in English and with subtitles in French, English, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, Romanian, and Italian of the studio version with lyrics like this week. The studio version was very good. And also the live version, because I listened a little bit to the live version, the sound is great. So I've just watched this song I've never heard before. I hope I will like the live version. Sometimes the live version is better than the studio version. We will see with that one. Don't forget the premiere is very fun at 1:30 Eastern Canada time. It was a blast. The 3 last weeks we were numerous. It was fun, lot of reaction. Be there. It's very fun if you can. So that's it for now. In 3 and 2, 1.
A storytelling breed we are.
Mm-hmm.
These stories given to us are filled with suffering, slavery, and the selfhood of a condescending ape. Every child is worth a better tale.
You make me laugh. Oh, what an entrance. Oh. Bravo, Kato. Kai. Oh, bravo. This part I like. We will see.
Stories given to us all are filled with sacrifice and ropes of lust, dissonant choirs and downcast eyes, selfhood of a condescending ape. Behold the crown of a heavenly spire, forged in blood of those who defy. Kiss the ring, praise and sing. He loves you dwelling in fear and sin. Fear is a choice you embrace. You're only true. Time of poetry.
love this part. Yep. And this better tale, we will tell you. Probably the rest of the show will be the tale, the new tale. That's what that's how I understand, because it's the second song, if I remember well, of the album. So I'm eager to see the next songs. I prefer. I would have so many things to say about this song, but I don't think I will, because I prefer to see the whole of the album before commenting further. So for now, child, because you are called child, we will tell you a better story. Let's see, what is this better story in the coming weeks? See you next week. Bye bye.